Shit.
Okay, we're live. For once, we finally got it live. Hello, everyone. We've been talking for like the past 30 minutes, but we're gonna pretend like we haven't. How are you guys doing today?
I'm so excited. I'm
So
really
that's-
excited for this.
Yeah, we're doing great so far. We're just gonna be talking. I'm gonna ask some questions to my friends over here about the festival. But first, why don't everyone introduce themselves, starting with Taneesh, I guess.
Sure. Hi, I'm Taneesh. I'm 18. I make kind of like a fusion of like indie, punk, and hip hop. That's kind of like my genre that I like sit in. I've been making music for quite some time, but I started taking it seriously very recently, only like a couple like years ago. And yeah, I'm excited to see where it takes me.
Then how about Robin? Robin?
What's up, Robin? Robin Lune. Make electronic music, but I'm branching out to some indie stuff with stuff that won't be named, but
Yeah. I've heard a little bit of it. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Then Baynexo.
Hi, I'm Baynexo. I am an 18-year-old music producer from New York City. I'm really excited to be a part of this whole project here.
Yeah. So we've all met each other. I met Taneesh like 2-3 years ago. Robin like a year and a half ago. Baynexo like probably like maybe 10 months to a year ago. Yeah. So we're all artists here. And so as artists, part of the job is consuming art so that we can kind of have an output. So I'm just wondering, what are your favorite pieces of art? It could be like a video game, any like album, single, paintings, etc. Like what's your like favorite piece of art? And then anyone can answer.
Should I go first?
yeah, you can go.
All right. So I have like a few parts I've written down for this question. One favorite video game is absolutely Minecraft, like of all time. But I also like other games like Undertale, like more story-based ones. I have a favorite album, and that's Nurture by Porter Robinson. I think it's an incredible album.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I had to just say like favorite song, it would be Look at the Sky by Porter Robinson. But then runner up to that would be Miracle by Madeon, In My Room by G. Jones, and Delmar County Fair 2008 by Underscores.
Sick. Anyone else?
I could go.
Yeah.
I feel like music-wise, I feel like right now I've definitely like gone through a bunch of different albums that have been my favorite like over time. Right now, my favorite is Trojan Horse by Matt Foxy. It's kind of abstract. It's like an abstract like album. It mixes a bunch of different genres together, and that's why I really like it. It's kind of like it's an inspiration to what I want to do with my music as well. Like just mix a bunch of genres. Video game wise, I feel like I don't have a specific one, but I love lots of like old games. I feel like those are really cool, especially like the surreal like genre of game is kind of cool. Like
how old? Like what kind of?
I'd say like not too old. Like 80s games, like they're cool, but like not my favorite.
Right.
I'd say like in the mid 2000s.
Okay.
Like those kind of games, like the early Xbox games and like early PlayStation games, those are like my favorite.
Makes sense. That's cool. Yeah. Robin.
All right, so for my like biggest like favorite piece of art, obviously, like, you know, you got your like Porter Robinson, you got your Madeon, you know, there's that hierarchy. But
Right.
like recently I've been getting into just like smaller artists and you know, just listening to like how other people make music that aren't, you know, that haven't been doing it their entire lives, or they're just starting. It's just really interesting to get into that, and just it blows my mind, just the creative process of literally anyone else.
Yeah.
You know, I started consuming music as like a medium when I was like 10 years old. So it wasn't like, oh, this has been my entire life. No, it's just like halfway through my life, I was like, I really like this. I'm going to start listening to music. And it just slowly became more and more part of my day. So, you know,
Yeah.
but like video games wise, you know, I don't play that much anymore.
Same. Yeah.
Don't really play too much. Any older game, like anything from the Nintendo 64, love it. Those sound fonts really get me, you know.
Oh yeah. Do you got the Mario 64 sound font?
I won't elaborate further.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, no, that's yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, a part of. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Oh. Okay. You know, through that, obviously, I would assume you're like inspired frequently, not so like, not necessarily by your favorite artist. So I'm just curious, like, you know, what artists inspire you? Like, what sounds, what genres? Like, how do you get to your current sound that you're at right now?
I'm gonna be honest. It's usually whatever I'm listening to or whatever I'm going through, like emotionally at the time. That to me, especially recently with everything that's going on in my life,
Yeah.
has like really driven me to like write things that are a little bit less abstract than I've written in the past. I used to beat around the bush, and now it just all these what I've listened to recently, especially like the new Frost Children EP, like that to me gave me a lot of inspiration to write some more like deep stuff.
Right. Yeah.
With me, I feel like a lot of my inspiration doesn't just come from music. I get a lot of inspiration when I'm like outside, like in nature. I get a lot of inspiration. I feel like there's like a lot of like times where the weather will like influence me. Like I'll be like, I'll see like the sky or something. And it's like, you know how like Michigan skies are like really cool right now, right? So it's like
yeah.
no, but all seriously, like the sky, like where we are right now, like I'll look out, it'll be like the coolest thing ever, and I want to like put that like beauty that I'm seeing in that like into a sound, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
kind of like influence I have, like other artists that influence me. Matt Proxy, as I said before, Gene Dawson, Jane Remover.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah.
And then there's this collective that I really like called Pigeons and Planes. They're really good. I like them. Yeah. And then like if I had to go like older, I think like Odd Future would be like also an influence of mine.
Okay, that's cool.
But a lot of these, like, yeah, they're just like big inspirations for me.
So I'm mostly inspired generally by two things. It's either people or experiences. So you have people like my best friends, my parents, my grandparents, my family in general, and then like big artists like Porter Robinson, Madeon underscores. And then there's experiences I have. Like I have this one very vivid memory of I was like 12 or something, and I had to go for like an MRI scan or something. And in the car on the way to the office, I was watching one of those stupid life hack videos on my iPad. And in the intro to that video, they used a song from some guy named Tobu, who's like a really big EDM producer. He makes a lot of like royalty-free music. You've probably heard it in Roblox Tycoons. He made that Candyland song. And for a long time, there's an ant in my room. Yeah, so for a long time, I was very much driven or what's the word, attracted to that like genre of music. Tobu, Ichiro, Lone, like all of those producers. And then COVID happened, and I started getting into a little bit more of like a range of genres, like tropical house, melodic house, not just like heavy EDM stuff, to more like different genres. Like in addition to those, you got future bass, like classic house music, and then I started listening to these artists like Ixon, who also makes royalty-free music. A little more niche artists like Axon and Nisco, and then after a while in early high school, I got really into Avicii. You know, the guy who made Levels, the guy who made Wake Me Up, and that's been like a really consistent inspiration. And then a few years ago, I remember coming across the song Dulcite by Porter Robinson. And I just immediately fell in love with his music, with that entire album, Nurture. It's incredible. And my musical taste just has continued to expand ever since to not just like EDM, but also like rock and pop and emo music and acoustic stuff and ambient, and it's just all of that. And it's really fun to like listen to these artists, hear them define their own styles over time, like with their different intentions and the stories they want to tell. And I really love to think I could do that for somebody else someday.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, kind of going off of what Robin said a little bit earlier with all the stuff that was going on. I also was curious and wondering if like how do like the things you go through in life, like how does that affect the way you not only like write lyrics, but also like how you like want to translate that into like a musical instrumental context? The awkward silence is incredible.
I can go. I feel like a lot of my experiences early on influenced my lyrics specifically. Obviously, as an early artist, I would be making stuff very straightforwardly. Like there wouldn't be a lot of meaning behind the lyricism. It would just be very straightforward, just like boldly just saying like what I was feeling. But I feel like as my experiences got more, I guess, deep, I try to, or at least like the emotions that the experiences had, like I feel like my original style of lyricism wasn't really cutting it for like that level of emotion. So I started trying to deepen my lyricism and also start doing a lot more, what's the word, like convey my emotions through my production a lot more.
Yeah.
Because I feel like what I would do before is I would just make like a basic like beat for something, and then I would rap some like basic thing on it. But I feel like now that I'm doing more a different fusion of genres, I'm able to express myself way more.
Yeah.
And like my experiences that I've had was what made me able to start doing like deeper meanings behind things.
Yeah, especially with hip hop, I feel like that'd be like kind of like that's a weird sound. I feel like the beat, like the whatever beat you're and the flow interact with each other a lot. So like, kind of makes sense that like the lyrics and the beat would like tie into each other emotionally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I go next?
Yeah.
Unless Rob wants to go. Okay. So I will use like one example that happened recently. So unfortunately, I lost my grandmother on New Year's Eve, literally last year, like on New Year's.
So
and
sorry.
That
Yeah.
was just such like a big thing because I had never lost a family member before in that way. Like I've lost pets, I've lost extended family, but this was somebody who actually was like a consistent person in my life. And for a little while after, it was unexpected, but it was very devastating. So I sort of just had a lot of grief, and I pushed myself to turn that grief into a way to move on, like a way to continue to be myself in spite of this hardship. And it kind of just put into perspective for me, just like how short life is, how you can't really do everything you want. And I've just kind of come to the conclusion I need to do everything I can do. And I think an experience as big as this kind of just, I guess, strengthened my confidence in myself. That sounds a little like morbid, but it was a big thing that happened, and it kind of motivated me to live my truth, be myself, and make music.
So I feel like a lot with this new project that I'm working on, there's a lot of things in there that are directly tied to things that have happened in my life, especially like I will write like a lyric or something at one time while something is happening, like especially with For You. One of the biggest things that happened around that time that I was making that song was I met somebody who I genuinely like cared about, and the entire meaning of that song while I was writing that those lyrics, it wasn't necessarily about loving somebody. And when I came to the chorus, it really hit me really hard changing that. Uh, I was, I was like, this would hit a lot harder if I tied this to somebody in my life currently. And then it's like a lot recently. There's songs that I'm writing currently that are directly tied to what has happened recently, like with my hospital visits and all that. And it's just like thoughts about life itself. Um, what Baynexo said. You don't live forever. And just those thoughts going through your head, and music being your creative outlet, it kind of hits hard, but there's a deep meaning to at least some of the older stuff that I've written as well.
Right.
But it's a little bit more hidden under a lot of hidden meanings almost. And now I'm not as much in that headspace. I'm more, I gotta get this out. I gotta let everybody know what I'm feeling.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Nowadays with the music, like how music kind of gets around, how you have to do things. A lot of it kind of used to be like you would make the song and then ship it out to some company and they do like everything else for you. But now you have to like really get into the nitty gritty, like especially if you're like an indie artist, like you have to do everything. So with that, I'm just curious, like how much are like visual aspects important to you in like creating part? Like how does the visuals like that you're thinking in your head like affect the music? Does it like, how does it affect the creative process?
So when I think of visuals, there's kind of a bit of like a disconnect between what I want to do and what I can, because you go to concerts and you see that these big artists have really elaborate stories that they're telling, really big visuals, and in this particular instance I'm talking about like actual visuals rather than like a motif or like a design style for a certain like album or song. So for instance, I went to see Underscores with my best friends last month, and she had like a screen behind her while she was performing with a bunch of visuals that very much felt like they fit with the music, like really, because like her new album is all about like consumerism and like modern issues, as well as how like clean the world like feels, like that 2000s design style, like the modern buildings, the modern like design motifs, and the visuals were very like reminiscent of that. So I feel like visuals are a really good way to tell a story, but also to have just like a loose way of tying an album together or a collection of songs together. And usually my experience with this is I've always asked like other people to make music videos for me, because I've never really figured out how to make them myself. But now that I'm like using CapCut to edit my set, I'm actually working on a music video on iMovie right now for a song I put out a few months ago, and it's a lot. I'm able to do a lot more than I thought, but all that I'm able to do with making these visuals is different than what I want. It's like I'm able to do a lot, but I kind of have to make like compromises when it comes to my artistic vision versus what I can do. But overall, I feel like visuals are a really good aspect of music.
Sure.
I think for me. Oh no, sorry. You want to go?
No, you can go first. You can go.
I think for me, a lot when I'm writing a song or even just like coming up with it in my head, I'll imagine like these scenes, and this is kind of just me as a person. I'll come up with these scenes and ideas for how this song makes me feel. Especially with like a lot that I've done visual wise recently for other things. I I think that I wanted to complement how the song makes me feel and kind of just like express that to the person watching it. Like, this is how it makes me feel. Like, here you go. Like handing it in a box to them almost. And then to like music video wise, it kind of falls along the same line of like, here's how I am emotionally,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I feel like the way I do it, I almost treat visuals as like the centerpiece of my releases instead of the music.
Mm.
The way I do it, at least my process, is I'll actually like make the cover art first and then shape the songs around the cover
Oh,
art.
okay. Interesting.
So yeah, like visuals are huge for me. I take into account this quote by Virgil Abloh, who's a big he was a designer. He unfortunately passed away recent not it's like recently as in like relatively, like it was years ago, but we were alive when when it happened. But he made this quote that was like, if you put like a crushed can in an art studio, it'll look like a piece of art, but if you put it in a garage, it'll look like garbage. So it's like
Mm.
the way you design the things around your main piece almost have as much influence as the main piece, or even more influence than the main piece, which is why I think visuals are really important. And another thing with my creative process is like mood boards, being able to see like the influence instead of just hearing it. Like I'll obviously have like a playlist of influence that I have, but I also have like a Pinterest account or something where I'll go and I'll like just save like all the images that are like, wait, this would fit if I played the music behind this image, it would fit. And I'll
Yeah.
just save a bunch of these, and whenever I'm producing, I'll have another tab open. I'll be scrolling through these images as I'm producing, and it kind of like influences me. So visuals are definitely like very big for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of with that in the same lane of ideas, it sounds like, at least to me, that like so like especially for Taneesh, like visuals are incredibly important. So that kind of makes me wonder, is like visuals your favorite part of the creative process? Like, what's your favorite part of the creative process for all of you guys?
I think. Oh, no, we did
Sorry,
it again.
no, you go first. You go.
I think for me, that feeling right when you're like finishing up a track, and it's like it's almost time to start like telling people about this. That's probably my favorite part. Alongside of like when you get that first idea of how, like, if it's a lyric, if it's like a bass line, if it's chords, anything like that first idea, that hits as hard as when you are finishing that track, and it's like,
Yeah.
I gotta show this to people.
Mm-hmm. For sure, yeah.
So I really like all of the creative process, basically, like from the initial idea, the final product, everything in between. But if I had to choose like one aspect of it, it would be the in between part, because there's so many different ways you can take a project. There's so many different things you could do, people you could work with, and it kind of just like ties it together, because You know, like it's not really about the destination, it's about the journey. I hear that a lot in like media, and I kind of have to agree with that when it comes to making art, because it's fun to make art. Like it's not just fun to consume art, to look at it, to listen to a song, to look at a painting, play a video game. It's fun to make it, and I think the fun that's inherent to being creative is a really important and really good aspect, for lack of a better word, of the creative process.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, I think obviously I enjoy every part of it, but honestly, like going back to the inspiration, I feel like the very start of the creative process when I have like the original idea for something, that excitement I get where I'm able to like get this stuff out of my brain. It's like that excitement that I have is probably my favorite part. It's like being able to think of something and then know that like over the next like month or like year, you're gonna be constantly getting these ideas out for this like theme that you have in your brain. I feel like
Yeah.
that excitement I have at the start of the process is my favorite.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. That's actually, yeah, that's so real. Like working on like white space for a while. Like the first thing that I actually made was like the like concept album art thing, kind of like what Taneesh was saying. Like, is just so it's just so interesting. Like it's just once you have such a like evocative image, it's hard not to like get excited over that. So yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Kind of in a deeper turn when you're making like either writing like well, I guess in this case writing lyrics is how personal do you think you're willing to get to like writing lyrics, or like have you ever written a lyric that you had to cut because it was like too personal? Like do you have like a line that's like this is too much, like like I shouldn't be sharing this, it's like do you have like that line? Is that something you think about?
So I haven't exactly had as much experience writing lyrics as everyone else here has, because I've mostly done instrumental, but now I'm really starting to, experiment with other genres, and that comes with writing lyrics. So in my set, I'm going to be debuting a new song for my upcoming album that I'm writing with Robin. And it's like the first song I've really ever written intentionally to have lyrics, and it's going to be very personal, but also like kind of vague. So it's not just like watching a movie. It's going to be more relatable than that. So it's like some kind of dreamlike, I guess, reflection of my life that kind of mirrors what I said earlier about life not being really long enough to do everything. As I write more and more music, I definitely love to start making more songs with lyrics and stuff. But I feel like if I when I either if or when I actually get into writing more songs with lyrics, I'm gonna veer more personal than abstract, because I feel like for me music is definitely a way to express myself and my emotions and my experiences rather than just concepts.
For sure, yeah.
I'm not gonna do it this time.
All right. You want me to go first? I can go. So with mine, definitely early on, when I was like freshman in high school, sophomore in high school, I would cut 90% of my lyrics. Like I would write a song, delete half of it, like 75% of it, go back, write it again, delete 50% of that, and keep going until I eventually got enough for a song. And that's why I dropped so little, like at those periods. It's like, yeah, and that was until recently, is because I just did not think people would appreciate me getting that vulnerable. Obviously, because growing up in the places that I'm like located, it's a little bit different. I had like very different experiences because as is like a South Asian in like primarily like white spaces, I feel like a lot of my audience would not be able to understand or relate to what I was writing. So I'd be cutting a lot of these lyrics, but then I realized like more recently this summer, as I was working on this new release that I'm about to drop, is that I feel like a lot it should be more my expression of my experiences regardless of who the audience is.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of it is to show these new experiences to these people instead of trying to get the approval of someone else.
Right.
So I feel like more recently than not, I've been getting way more vulnerable with the lyrics. And obviously, as someone who was originally in hip hop, I feel like it gives room for a lot of like entendres, a lot of motifs, a lot of visualization when it comes to lyricism. So I feel like that really opened the gateway to whatever I'm doing right now with indie and punk influences, because obviously with those genres, especially punk, they do not hold back when it comes to lyrics. So I'm excited, and I'm also, I'm not regretful, but I am aware of where I came from with lyricism, and I'm able to grow when it comes to being vulnerable with my art.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I noticed too, is like, when I first listened to like your early release, like Numb and stuff, I was like, this goes really hard. Like everything flows so naturally, but I was struggling with like, what are these lyrics like about me? Like, you know what I'm saying? But then like listening to like Backyard, I was like, oh, like he's going there. And it's been a fun journey to watch for sure. How about you, Robin?
I think a lot recently, I've been a little bit, almost in my mind, too personal with my lyrics. In the past, on my first like releases, you'll notice a lot of like empty space where there really should be lyrics, and that's because there were lyrics there, and a lot of them got cut because I genuinely feel like I felt like at the time I was giving myself or I was making myself too vulnerable. And showing a side of me that I really didn't want to show. And these like feelings that, like Taneesh said, nobody else would understand. And it got to the point where when I was writing just like directly after like finishing all those songs, I was like, I can't keep doing this because I'm not it's taking a toll on me almost, where I'm like, it's as if I'm putting up a facade almost.
Yeah.
I'm not writing as myself. So a lot more in upcoming projects. I show a lot more of like, this is me, this is what I want, all that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, some of the also like same thing like I said to Taneesh, like, Figure It Out was great, but like the new, like some of the lyrics you sent me, I'm like, oh yeah, like she's going there. So that's awesome. Yeah. We all grow as artists. We all had that one demo from like 2 years ago. It's something we're a little embarrassed about. Do y'all have a like creative regret? Like you're like, I regret this decision, or I regret this song. Like I regret like this part of like, so.
Yeah. There's some regrets I would prefer not to talk about, but I'd say two big ones is I was a very awkward person in like high school on like, I used to do this one just specific genre, melodic house, and honestly the community wasn't really, after a while the community became kind of like not the place for me, but I was very awkward. I feel like that was as a musician I was very awkward to talk to, where I was both like really outgoing but also really like, I don't know, I just felt like that one weird kid. And then second one, I regret that I did not like manage my time well when I was starting out making music on like my computer. Definitely when I was making music on my iPad, like FL Studio Mobile. I feel like time management would have saved me from all those. I have like an entire folder of unreleased music on my computer of songs I never finished and never will finish, and it has like 80 songs in it. I'm never finishing it, and I feel like as a creative regret, if I had the time management skills to like figure out what songs I want to keep, what songs I could have done something with. I feel like that would have saved me a lot.
It just always happens every time.
We're having the stare down. I definitely do. I definitely have a lot of creative regret, especially with like the first projects I've done, and it directly ties back to not being able to like come to terms with being vulnerable. And you know, like it's okay to put up a facade from time to time on songs and just like write as somebody else, and I think that helps a lot. But I definitely do on a lot of those songs regret not putting in at least now not putting in those original lyrics and at least trying to make them uh something that I could work with, you know.
Yeah.
But I do have a lot of projects that I'm not the biggest fan of. Like I'll try different genres just to branch myself out, and a lot of them just do not work and I just can't figure them out. But that's, you know, you do as much as you can, you get your practice in, and you know, one day you won't like regret it as much.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of my early stuff I don't really regret putting it out, but I regret not being able to be confident in myself when I was, during the production process of it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the sound that I'm doing right now with my next release is like the exact lane I want to be in for the rest of my career. And I feel like the fact that I wasn't able to find that sound early on, because I definitely had the sound in my brain. This is what I wanted to do for a while, and I'm finally able to do it. But I have the regret that I didn't have the confidence to put that sound into my music. And instead I took this path of like mainstream genre, like trying to sound mainstream.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of feel like there's a way to fix it. And I feel like I've done it before. Like with my first release, I did like remove it from streaming services because it's like I wanted to, not because I regretted releasing it, but rather I regretted, not really regret's not the right word for it. I didn't regret releasing it, but I more wanted to show myself as someone different, because I feel like with art, like authenticity is such a big thing. And I feel like I wasn't being authentic with those early releases. So I feel like songs like, like Catch Snakes, like those eventually I feel like are going to get removed. But more recent releases like Backyard or Deer, like those are probably going to stay up because I feel like I was more myself with those.
For sure. Yeah.
Even though they are, still, very hip hop influenced, which is something that I want to move away from, but I still want to keep that influence, but not like directly. Even though they're like part of the process of me becoming fully confident in myself. While on the contrary, those early releases, like from when I was like 8th grade freshman year, those were like fully just like I wanted to be cool because I knew I was like
right.
Like I just wanted to look cool is why I made them. So that's why I kind of like unreleased them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's so real. Frequently, and part of it is sometimes I feel like, you can kind of get into your own head like a lot. Like if you like isolate yourself, like you don't have like any other like feedback from other people, you get in your head and you're like, oh, what if people don't like this? Instead of like, asking people what they actually think of it, So in that spirit, like, how would you say like collaboration, like working with other artists, like how does that affect like the process in which you write music?
You go first.
So when I'm the few times I've collaborated, I always find myself doing things that I normally wouldn't. And I'm just like, every single time I'm like, all right, hear me out. This is going to work. Trust me. And 9 times out of 10, it does work. And it's just like, it doesn't seem like it's gonna work. But I at least for me, the other part of it is, you get someone else's like instant feedback rather than like, you are making this entire song by yourself. And then, sometimes you'll send parts of it to people. I usually tend to wait to around like when the song is finished or like it's about to be finished to get that feedback. But when you're collaborating, you don't really have that privacy. You have
Right.
to be like, hey, check this out, you know. But it does help me in that sense of like the instant feedback.
Hence the I don't know if people are going to be able to see this. Famous Twitter tweet. Why do I question Robin? Robin is always right. That's what we learned from collaborating with Robin.
The choir just works.
the choir just works. Like, don't question it.
You'll get that in like a couple months.
Yeah.
So collaboration is. I've had a bit of a rocky road with collaboration. There was a time when I was still doing melodic house, I had like 12 collabs going on. That's probably hyperbolic, but I had a lot of them going on, and only one of them became an actual song. And that song specifically, Starry Night Sky, I just put it out. It was my first, I think one of my first label releases, which is pretty cool. But I put it out with my friend Dark Text from France. He's really cool. So that's like an example of a good collaboration. It's like, you find someone else who's like-minded, like you, likes the same things, like the same music, and like you can kind of just go with the flow mostly when it comes to working with people who have a similar music taste to you. But every now and then I kind of feel like branching out a bit with my music taste, and I'm considering I'm starting to do that with what I make. It's a little bit of a fear of mine that I might not be able to find people to like collaborate with as much, especially in like the online circles I'm still a part of. But generally, I feel like collaboration has been like a net positive for me. Even though on that song I made with Dartex, I did like 80% of the work. I made the whole FLP and I just sent it to him, and he added like an extra lead layer on top. But I don't know. I think that's also a good example of like how collabs can be good, because like how they can work, because you may have like an entire project finished and then somebody else comes along and adds just like a few more finishing touches, and it makes it like a perfect work of art for you. And I really like the idea of like making something with another person, because making something is fun. If you're making something with another person, well, it's like that meme of the two Squidwards wearing like the same colored shirt, and the caption is just when you have a friend. yeah. Collabing is 10 out of 10 for me.
For me, it's also like a huge thing. I feel like with collaboration, it's like I don't even collab with like most of the time I don't even collab with people who make music. You know what I mean? Like it's just like I send it to them, they give me tips. Like obviously they don't know how to do it because they don't make music, but they tell me like you should add this here, put this, like move this around, and I'll be like, I'll try it out and it sounds good and I'll use that. I collaborate with Jaden, right?
Oh yes, yeah.
Like I'll send it because he's like mad talented with computers. I'll ask him, hey, send me some like glitchy sounds you made when you were like messing around with something, right? He'll send me that. I'll put that in a song, because it's like I love being able to work with other people regardless. And especially with like even with artists, it's like my favorite thing ever. Like Dizzy Mason, Micaiah, like those were people I collaborated with in past releases, and with both of those releases, or one was on Deer Company, the other one was on Backyard. The biggest release on both of those albums were collaborations. Like were the only songs with collaborations.
Yeah.
So I feel like what it does in my creative process is almost like tap into another like part of my creative brain, because obviously when I'm making music, I'm thinking about how I'm going to write on it, how I'm going to do this. But then when I collaborate with other people, I'll try to predict how they'll do it. But then whenever I send out the instrumental, they always do something that surprises me. And I feel like that's a way that I also get inspired and learn like more things. So collaboration is definitely like not only like super fun, but also like a way of growth for me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I really couldn't live without collaboration. Otherwise, I would not make any music ever. But yeah. So I was thinking about this a little bit recently, and you know, to probably the dread of us all, Suno AI became a thing, and you know, I like, and back when it came out, like I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. Maybe it's like could be cool. So I played with it, and I was like, this sucks. You know, like like this just sucks. But I couldn't tell why, because it's like objectively like it's like the chords like make sense, like the vocals hypothetically, like the vocals like kind of they make sense, I guess. So and I think the real answer is it has a lack of human perspective, but I'm curious to hear, how do you think human art contrasts with AI art?
Boo! Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I cut you. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good. No, I was gonna say the exact same thing. It was like,
I don't think AI has like a generative AI, obviously, because there's a distinction between the AI doctors use to find cancer and the AI people use to make those stupid lightning backrooms movie reaction images on Instagram. I don't think generative AI has any sort of place in any sort of creative process in any sort of artistic field. It has a lack of like intention. It has a lack of like perspective, as Lefo was saying, and also it just doesn't have a meaning. It's just it exists. It wasn't made for a purpose. It's just like it's there, and that kind of just takes away, like for me, personally, it just takes away the intention behind art, like the feeling, the human element.
I feel like the way I look at it is definitely like just, I don't want to be mean to the people behind it because obviously they're just doing what their job, but like it just seems uneducated to me because I'll listen to like an ad. I saw an ad of the CEO of Suno AI was on like a podcast or something,
Mm-hmm.
and he said people don't like the creative process of music, and that's why they made Suno AI. And it's kind of just like that sounds like stupid to me because it's like I'm pretty sure the entire reason people make music is for the process.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I mean, we were just talking about that like 30 minutes ago, like, you know.
yeah,
So.
thanks. It's like that's like the fun part of it, and it's like I feel like there's also, if you look at it in a certain way, there's also a bright side though, because I feel like with generative AI comes this kind of like renaissance with human artists, is that like we're gonna start
Yeah.
in the next years, even now, we're gonna start making music that's like impossible to replicate with computer generation, which is I'm excited to see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually, I think that's what I was talking to one of my older brothers about it, and that's kind of what he said, is that he said that human made art is going to be something that becomes more valuable because like this AI art is like so incredibly cheap. Like people are going to crave real art when like after like AI becomes a big thing. So what about you, Robin?
I think the biggest thing is you can just genuinely you can just tell when something has been like had AI used in it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that there's just no soul to it, and it has no meaning. Like you can go and scroll Instagram reels for like 30 minutes and get 90 to 95% just AI like generated videos. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to keeping it family friendly. But no, it just, you get to a point where it's just like you see all this AI, or you see the AI voiceovers, and you just go, it just gets so grating on you, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas somebody actually talking, even if they're not a good speaker, it's not grating like AI is. It's something different that we've never experienced. So I think it's, we're going to get to that point where we are going to get that renaissance.
Yeah.
Probably soon.
Yeah, hopefully, dude, for sure. Yeah. That's pretty much just like my thoughts, especially on like AI making stuff. Like I've always had a problem with like making images or like, you know, making like music or like things that sound like music to me. Like that's where I've always had a problem. Then what kind of once you step outside of that, this is where I really started thinking, because you know, I can easily say like, boo, using AI lyrics is bad, or like using AI imagery generation is bad. But then I kind of started thinking about like, what about cases where it becomes more like a tool rather than just something that like, I don't know, like that's just does the work for you. Like, do you think there are any use cases for like using AI more as a tool rather than like the thing that does the work for you, you know?
I feel like when it comes to the creative process itself, I don't think it has room anywhere in there. But I do think in like, I guess when it comes to music, I feel like research, I guess, would be a way to do it. Like if you, I don't know how to explain. Like if you're looking for like a synth or something, like a physical like actual synth, and you're like, hey, I want like a similar sound to this genre. I guess it would like give you results of like which synth to buy. But then again, like you could just use Google for that. So it's like not really like a use. It's more just like an alternative of something that could already be used. So like I don't think AI has any place in the actual creation process, though. I don't think it should be there.
In the creative process, completely out of it. Just don't even question me on that. I have very strong opinions, but I do think there probably are some seldom cases. There, you know, the one that I always go back to play like devil's advocate is in the music video for Cheerleader by Porter Robinson. They used AI as this soulless like cash grab, like in the background of the person's room, and it's just a bunch of pictures of him, and it's made like I don't know exactly if it's made by AI or somebody who like it makes it look like AI, but a lot of what I've seen is like people think it's AI, but it in my mind that to me is like this person is so obsessed, like, you know, the corporations or this what's it called, you know, the label is just has so much stuff pumped out of this person because they're that popular, you know. And I think it's good for like a statement, but it's so seldom that it's very rare to actually get something where it has a good use.
Yeah. I want to make a joke because Robin was talking about like a renaissance of human art. And that was like a very religious time, so I feel like a lot of the jokes about underscores being God is like very applicable here. But yeah, I think there's very like rare cases where you can even see like somewhat of a reasonable intention behind using AI in like, I don't want to say the creative process because I'm like vehemently against it being in like a creative process, as I mentioned before. But in cases like that, like the cheerleader music video, I don't want to say it's like okay, like I'm fine with it, but I could see why Porter or somebody on his team would do that. Something else that comes to mind was the Nurture tour visuals for the Nurture edit of the Thrill remix that he did. In half of that song, there's AI visuals, and they're supposed to look like very trippy, very like psychedelic. I can understand that because I also like saw that in like an episode of Smiling Friends. And there's uses for it. Nobody should use it, but there are uses for it. It's like if you want to make something that looks absolutely insane, you like theoretically you could use AI. That would be a way to do it, but it doesn't exactly make it justified to me.
Yeah.
But
yeah, for sure. I was thinking about it for a really long time, and again, kind of similar to what Taneesh was saying. I feel like the best case you get for AI is replacing something you can do like with like Google or like with people like IRL. Like I think at one point, which I don't know how I feel about the fact that I did it for like one of my songs, what I would send like to like, I don't know, freaking Gemini or whatever I use. I like would write a bunch of lyrics and just be like, what do you think these mean? And then see if it like was the message that I was trying to portray. But like that's the thing, like I can just do that with humans. And I was like, I guess it like made it like I saved like 5 minutes by doing that. But like really, like the things that AI is gonna save like, I don't know, a couple seconds, like I don't know. So yeah, I've thought about it. I really don't like want to use it like pretty much ever. I like used it that one time. I was like, I guess like that was a use case, but I can just probably do it and probably do it better with humans anyway. So yeah. Kind of moving on from the questions just about art in general is you know, in how many days? Like, I don't know, 2 weeks or something. 2 weeks, we got a big thing, got a music festival happening. So kind of in relation to that, what is your goal like for like the music festival? What's your goal for like your set?
So I used to make music really like just to make music, like with no like intention really, other than making like art, which is an okay like motive. But now that I've like started to define my own musical taste, like my own musical style, I feel like the goal for my set will be, this is who I am. Like, it's sort of like a window into my life, my current musical taste, my past musical taste, where I expect that to go, as well as like my style, not just my musical taste. It's kind of just like who I am, who I was, and who I want to be someday, or who I will be, who I'm turning into. There's 8.5 billion people in the world, and I'm just one of them, and you know, everyone has a story, and I'd like to use my music to tell mine, and maybe even to inspire other people that to do the same, because you know, I'm really lucky that I can use FL Studio, that I have a computer, that I'm in this festival, and I guess I kind of want to be sort of like this may not be a good analogy, but like a lighthouse for those people. Random funny connection, but in the song "Get Your Wish" by Porter Robinson, which has a similar message, he used a lighthouse for the tour visuals. Can you guess what my hyperfixation is?
Is it a lighthouse?
Streets.
Porter Robinson.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think my goal, or at least my main goal, is to blow up and act like I don't. No, mine is to genuinely like surprise people with a lot of the new stuff that I've made. I'm gonna show off a lot of things, and then live edits that I've made of past songs. I think like whether it's you know, Last Dance or some new stuff like Pop Star Baby. I think showing that stuff off to people, just genuinely surprising them, it will make me feel really good, and just like, you know, it'll put a smile on my face. But mainly just, you know, having fun, just showing off music is like it's so much fun to me. So
Yeah.
I guess mine, I remember telling you before that it was like gonna be a Tiny Desk like concert kind of vibe, but I think I'm gonna like, I think I changed my mind with it a little bit. I was talking before about how I'm gonna send in footage from my actual live show that I did yesterday as my set, because I feel like what I want to take away from this is like, this is a great opportunity to show off this new sound that I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
And I did perform unreleased music at that live show. So I think it's a good transition, because the venue itself was like kind of like this DIY setup, and that's like the visual aesthetic that I have right now is definitely very DIY influenced. So I feel like what I want to take away from this is not do anything too crazy, not to experiment too much, but basically just to get the most out of like the audience that I'm gonna get. Definitely get I don't know how to put into words, but I feel like experience it as much as possible without trying to like milk it too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're able to make it like a showcase of where I'm going with stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's gonna be a good time. And it's interesting since like all of the artists have like vastly different like aesthetics and like vastly different sound palettes and whatever. So like Tracer makes like borderline metal EDM music, and like Robin's making like rock but also electronic but also like Taneesh's hip hop, Baynexo's was melodic house. So like yeah, it's what I'm kind of interested to see, and I'm just curious on what your answers would be, is like what is like the vibe, like just like the type of energy you want to like bring to your set, like what's like
Batshit insane.
Fair enough.
It's like I want to include a lot of surprises for people, because when I started this, originally it was just going to be like a DJ set, basically, of just mostly other people's music and then some of my new stuff. But then I locked in really hard because, I'm also working on an album. I really just locked in and like finished so many songs. And instead of being a DJ set, which also like I probably couldn't do because of copyright, but instead of it being a DJ set, it went from having the vibe of something that was very like messy to something that feels like its own world. It's kind of like a first look at the world I want to tell in my album, and I feel like the name of particularly my set, I'm calling it Dimensions Live at Flowerfield, because that's just what it feels like to me. It feels like an extended, complete, or mostly complete version of the story in the world I want to tell in my album. And well, I've thrown in like a lot of Easter eggs, sort of like little sprinkle of other people's stuff in there. There's going to be some edits of other people's songs. Maddie on Porter Robinson underscores, all that. There's going to be a lot of edits of my really old stuff, like my song Ocean from 2023, which I'm really excited to show off because I made it sound like some sort of Mario 64 shit.
Yeah.
So and there's going to be some like new stuff. Most of the stuff from my album is going to be in this, like 10 of the songs. No, like 11 of the songs. But yeah, basically the vibe I'm going for with my set is, I'm trying to think of like one word. Colorful. Colorful. It's got a lot of different emotions. Not that much of a genre range outside of just electronic, but there's going to be some stuff like breakcore. There's going to be future bass. There's going to be atmospheric parts. There's going to be a surprise part between the second and third parts of my set, which I'm really excited for people to see, with a cover song and an unreleased song that I'm incredibly like excited for people to hear. I feel like my set is going to include a lot of stuff that people wouldn't expect me to do, and it's going to include a lot of stuff that I feel like is the best stuff I've ever made, really. So yeah, the vibe, just colorful, creative.
You go.
Okay. I think the vibe for mine, genuinely, if I'm gonna be real, I'm gonna give away a lot of stuff here. I'm gonna give you Whiplash. I'm gonna hit you with some of the early stuff, and then with just like you wouldn't expect it to sound the way it does, but also the new stuff is you don't expect it to sound the way it does, and that's the only way I can really say it without giving away too much.
Yeah.
And if you go back, I already sprinkled stuff around for the new project, but the biggest one was I'm gonna blow up and act like I don't know nobody. That was the biggest one, and I already got like already got 3 messages about it just now. Like, I'm not even joking. I already got messages about it. But genuinely, the vibe is like I want you to get whiplash. I want you to have this feeling of I'm going into this expecting this, something very like lightweight, and just get hit in the face.
Yeah. Interesting. Are you gonna be rushing or dragging?
Both at the same time.
Great.
For mine, I feel like, like I said before, I'm not gonna do anything too crazy. I do want to start doing a little bit. I'm gonna be doing like some unreleased stuff. So obviously, there's gonna be a little surprises, like a couple surprises there. But yeah, honestly, I think my main vibe is gonna be pretty chill. With this, obviously, a lot of my music is chill.
Yeah.
It's like old school hip hop is like the main, like my discography mainly right now is that. So it's gonna be pretty chill. Honestly, if I had to put it into a word or like into like a phrase, this is kind of like the live version of like an interlude or something. Like I feel like this is like the transition of what I was doing before into like this new sound. Because the last song of my set is my favorite unreleased track so far. So
Okay.
I'm excited
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see all of your sets. It's gonna be a blast to watch, and I get to see them early, so that's gonna be fun. Yeah, really grateful for your time. Just to kind of wrap us up for today. Again, I appreciate your time. But so to wrap us up, what's like your main message, the biggest message you want to say, like across all of your art? Like what do you want to say,
Well,
I feel
Oh my goodness.
we did it again. This is like
I just keep doing it. I keep interrupting everybody.
no, dude, that's on me. Honestly, do you want to go or do you want?
No, you go. I gotta think about it.
All right. I guess with mine, it's kind of hard to explain, but I feel like I want to be able. It's a big picture thing, definitely. It's not just with this event that's gonna happen, but also with my career in like general. Is like I want to end up in a place where, someone younger who I guess like kind of like looks like me, obviously like growing up, I didn't have a lot of representation. I feel like in Western media, I want to be able to be older and have someone who looks like me look at like me like somewhere like big in art and be like, wait, I could probably do this. You know what I mean? Like have that kind of motivation visually.
Yeah, that's awesome. I hope so too. It's so funny because
you pointed the wrong way.
On my screen, you both pointed like opposite.
Yeah. I don't know who's actually who. I don't know where people are.
I think in all of my music, the message is different every time. At least with the newer stuff, the biggest thing, I'll try to say without giving too much away, is to kind of, you don't have to be happy with yourself. You can branch out. You can become who you want to be, rather than staying in one place.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
I can't say anymore.
Don't want to spoil it.
I can't spoil it.
So, in kind of a similar vein to that, this is going to sound a little cliche, but just be you. Be yourself. Even if that isn't the person you are right now, be the person you want to be. Make stuff, make mistakes, get messy, live in spite. Just be yourself. You can't do everything you want to do. No, unfortunately, but you can't just do nothing and resign yourself to being somebody or doing something you just don't want to do. Because, even with all the obstacles that we have to deal with in this world, in our personal lives, social lives, careers, everything, it's at the end of the day, there's only one you. There's only one me. There's only one, I don't know, Taylor Swift or whatever. But there's only one you, and there will only ever be one you. So, just be yourself, because who you are is enough.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you guys for your time. Thanks for all the awesome answers. I appreciate it. I can't wait to see your set, all of your sets. It's gonna be so dope.
I'm really excited for this.
I think also I appreciate your time that you've all spent working on your set and just grinding away. It's certainly not easy, so I appreciate it. Great conversation. August 1st, to the viewers, August 1st, show up to Flowerfield, support these artists. Go listen to their, I think I put some links of these artists in the description of the live stream, so you can go listen to their music right now. You can listen to it right here, right now. So go do that. It's been a pleasure. Hope we can have another great conversation again. I'll see you all guys on August 1st for Flowerfield.
Bye.
Goodbye.